Fellas, you know Degree Cool Rush deodorant, right? Well, last year they changed the formula, and guys were mad about it. One dude even started a petition. So guess what? Degree heard us, admitted they messed up, and brought the original Cool Rush scent back exactly how it was. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So grab some and remember why its cool, crisp, and fresh scent made it the #1 men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory for all of us.
Don't you love it when things are both easier and more affordable? Like when the rain washes your car for you. Or like when you save up to 10% by bundling your renters and auto insurance with USAA. Bundle with USAA and start saving. Get a quote today.
Hi, I'm Ethan, and I'm not Gen X. But listening and watching Gen X Grown Up makes me feel like I am. If you want the same experience I've had, consider becoming a patron at genxgrownup.com/Patreon.
GenXGrownUp is a YouTube channel, website, and audio podcast you're listening to right now. All made for and by people who love exploring media, games, tech, and toys of yesterday and today through the eyes of Gen Xers who refuse to grow up. Your dinner cannot just be French fries. Basically, life sucks as a grown-up. Welcome back, Gen X Grown Up podcast listeners, to this episode 190 of the Gen X Grown Up podcast. I'm John. Joining me, as always, of course, is George. Hey, man.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Of course, it would not be a show without Mo. How you doing, Mo?
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
In this episode, we watch the latest episodes from a video game classic turned small screen series, marvel at the precision technology packed into a cheap measuring gadget, and play the remastered edition of a nearly 20-year-old Bethesda RPG that promises to breathe new life into the established title. We're going to have those topics and many more coming up in this week's episode. Before we do that, though, it is time for some fourth listener email. And look, there's the three of us. We're liable to listen. If anyone else does, you are the fourth listener. And the fourth listener for this episode is Earl Woods. Now, he dropped us a line as a YouTube comment on the Breakfast Club backtrack that we cross-posted over there. It's been a couple months ago since we did that. It was the 40th anniversary of that thing, or 45? Something like that.
40th.
Yeah, 40th. Earl says, listen to this while playing the newest Civilization, which I mentioned only because I started with the original Civilization on my Atari ST just to bolster my Gen X cred. You've done it. On the other hand, even though I was in high school when The Breakfast Club was released, I missed it not only in theaters, but never caught up with it on home video in the 80s, 90s, the aughts, or teens. It was just a couple of years ago. Yeah, just a couple of years ago, in fact, when the movie came out on the Criterion Collection that I finally screened the film. And you guys give me crap for not seeing classics, but at least I'd seen The Breakfast Club.
Goonies.
Yeah, that's a Goonies. Yep.
All right. I won't open that door. Let's move on. So Earl goes on to say, and it rocked me back on my heels. It made me wonder how my life might have turned out differently if I'd seen it during its original release when I was 16 years old. I had all that angst embodied in those characters, and I wonder if seeing the film back then might have helped me weather the last couple of years of grade school a little better. Oh, man. Yeah. We all talked about how we relate to the different characters at maybe all of them at different times. And
yeah,
missing
I think he was going to have problems anyway.
You think Earl was going to have problems either way?
He was 16 years old and in grade school. There were some issues going on.
Maybe his grade school means the numbers up through 12. I don't know. We won't judge Earl. I don't know. Who goes on to say, in any event, fantastic discussion of the film's qualities, and thanks for revealing some really interesting trivia about the production. And he ends it with not words, but he says, raises clenched fist.
Cool.
Very cool, Earl. We're happy that you finally got that behind you and you saw it. It's I'm not going to give you any grief because I get plenty of grief for not seeing stuff, but we're glad you saw it. We're glad you enjoyed the episode and happy that you wrote in to tell us how you felt about it. Fourth listener, if you would like your email featured here on the show, you know it is drop dead easy. All you have to do is hit us up at podcast@genxgrownup.com. We read every single email that hits our inbox, and most of them eventually make the show. All right, with that good business in the rear view mirror, it's time to jump into the body of episode 190 after this very quick break.
Hilton brings you new ways to stay with experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
You're listening to Gen X Grown Up. But if you have a friend who's not yet listening, why not? Tell them about us. They'll thank you later.
I don't mind working hard, but I'll tell you how I feel. I work an honest day, and I want an honest deal.
Nobody wants high food prices. So when more people come to Safeway than any other food store in America, you know we gotta be giving them a good deal.
Yeah, I work an honest day, and I want an honest deal.
Safeway, America's favorite food store.
We're going to get the ball rolling as we always do, talking about media we have been enjoying lately. Now, of course, this could be film or television or books or comics or movies or music or whatever you're into right now. And Mo, why don't we start with you? What have you been checking out?
Well, I have been watching the #1 show on Netflix right now for all time. It beat out Squid Games. It's a show called Adolescence. Have you guys seen it yet?
I've seen the logo part of it and like a brief little trailer on the Netflix app. That's about it.
Wow, is all I gotta say about this.
All right.
It's 4 episodes, and it starts off with the police raiding a house and arresting a 13-year-old for murder. And this is not a spoiler at all because they do this pretty quickly. He's guilty.
Oh,
you know, it's they cover that right away.
Okay.
The unique thing about this show is that the entire episode was shot in one take.
Oh, like the single cam kind of follow
the
around.
entire hour long. Each episode was done in one take. If you get a chance, go to YouTube. They have a making of this thing. It's amazing because it's not even like they had sets. They actually use like a home, and you see the guy carrying the camera up, following him, and he passes the camera off to somebody who's already in the room, so he could do those shots. And then they have to pass it out a window for this person, and they move the camera, but they do it so seamlessly though. The one shot that you don't notice that's a one shot film. Like your brain doesn't even pick up that it's all one continuous shot. Like, those movies that did it, there was a couple movies like that World War, was it
1917, but that didn't do it in one shot.
No, but yeah. The fact that it was kind of like, it looked like it was supposed to be one shot was very obvious that they wanted to call attention that, oh, look, this is one shot.
Right. Look, no cuts. Right.
Right.
Or no parent cuts. Yeah. You
notice it at the beginning, but then after, your brain just stops. It's just like you're like following a story through the whole thing, to the kid getting put in the car, to the police station, him getting processed. And so each episode starts and stops in real time, in a sense. Each episode jumps in time, different phases of this whole ordeal. But the way it was filmed, though, makes it so real that you, at the end, you're just like, whoa. You start looking at the parents and what the parents are going through. You look at the school and what they're going through, the kid himself. The whole thing is very intense. I heard that in Great Britain, they're actually making this required viewing for students.
Jeez. Is that where the story takes place?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It takes place in London, England, somewhere. I don't know where. Like, it goes into things like bullying and incel stuff, and all these things about the kid, goes into motivations, why he did it, and all that stuff. And the dad is Stephen Graham. If you saw him, you totally know who he is. He was in Snatched. He was Statham's like partner, like the little guy friend that grabbed the dog and stuff.
Yeah, young white guy usually wears a mustache. Snatched was his first role, I think.
Oh, yep. I believe he was actually even one of the writers on it. But man, let me tell you, me and John had this conversation. God, tell you how old this was when The Sixth Sense first came out. And I remember, John, you were sitting there, you were like almost upset. You're like, that kid actor was amazing in Sixth Sense. How do all these movies get these crappy kid actors or child actors, right? And let me tell you, the kid actor in this one, phenomenal. Phenomenal.
It wasn't long ago, George, you were watching something. It wasn't one cut, one take, but it was also real time that you recently watched. What were we talking about?
It was probably The Pit, I think.
The Pit, that's right. The doctor thing, right? What if that's a trend? Like they're picking up the 24 thing. Like, it certainly adds a level of immediacy, I guess, to the show.
It just made it seem very real. Like you were sitting there watching a thing unfold. And let me tell you, if you get, I said, seriously, I'll put a link in there also to the YouTube video that shows like the making of it. But they had a scene, I'll tell you, at the end where it ends at the school, and then it has to go up in the air over a street to the site where the girl was killed. Yeah. And they show how the guy was holding the camera. He's holding it. They attach a drone to it.
Sure. And off it goes.
He lets go, and the drone takes the camera off to do the scene at the other location. I mean, it was technically, I think it was really, really interesting. But just from a story, you feel for this. You feel for the dad. You feel for the parent. I mean, imagine if your kid did something like this, and how would you feel as a parent? Like, you did everything you were supposed to do. Is it your fault? Is it not your, people telling you it's not your fault, but you're a parent. Of course you can think it's your fault, right? It is super intense, super good. Not necessarily a feel good show by any stretch of the imagination, but it definitely well worth your time. And if it doesn't do really well at the awards, I would be shocked.
Okay. So I want to see it. Sounds good.
Yeah, absolutely. So hopefully you have something a little lighter, John.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I picked up on, there was a film I kind of wanted to see in the theater, but I didn't get around to it. But now that it hit streaming, I checked out Locked, Locked. Now, if you saw the trailer, you remember it right away. This is a guy breaks into a car, gets in a SUV that's unlocked, and then he can't get out. And he's being tortured by the owner of the car somehow, trying to be punished for what he is. And so the kid in the car, he's not a kid, Bill Skarsgård. So Skarsgård are taking over Hollywood lately, all those brothers. He's the kid he's kind of a loser drifter guy, but with a good heart. He has a daughter he doesn't take care of very well. He's divorced and he needs money to get his van out of hock. Anyways, he's walking around town trying to find ways to scam money, and he tries to open this car door, and it's open, and it's this really slick looking SUV, and he gets into it. He looks around, can't find anything to steal, and he goes to leave, and he can't. And the phone rings, and the guy on the other end of the phone that owns the car is played by Anthony Hopkins. Now, I thought he was done being in movies.
Yeah, I thought so too.
He's got to be, was he 80, 90 now?
He's definitely up there.
Yeah.
He's a relic. So the premise of this movie is way better than the movie. And it's not that it's not well acted, and it is, and it's not that it's not, an interesting premise, and it is. The problem I had with it is it's great for streaming, by the way. I would never recommend somebody pay money to go see it because you don't need the big screen. It's claustrophobic. I would say 95% of the film happens inside of this little SUV, right? So there's not much. Now, how they shot that would be interesting to see. How do you get all these camera angles? But literally the premise is the older guy played by Hopkins, he has had things in his life where he really hates the criminal element. He's like in the 1%. He's a super rich guy. That's how he afford to make this armored car that you can't get out of, this bulletproof glass, soundproof and everything. And it's like a mousetrap. He set it to catch someone, to have someone to punish for the things in his life that he's unhappy went the way they did, or bad guys did things, or someone in his life was hurt. I won't ruin it because it is worth seeing. It's not a bad movie, but it's also in the third act of the film where things ramp up and something is coming to a head. It just gets so preachy and so trying to make a moral and trying to be philosophical. Like this guy, for being a loser, he's incredibly well read. Have you read The Art of War? Or have you read Peace? And they're having like this really intellectual conversation that makes me wonder, how did he end up here? If he's so smart, he probably could have done something else. And then finally, the end is so crazy as to be unbelievable, to be like, that's how you're going to end what you started as an interesting premise, kind of went around the corner and got a little unbelievable, and then really what kind of jumped the shark at the end to do some really bananas things. So I'm going to recommend it with an asterisk. I think it's an interesting film as this kind of, limited cast. Like you maybe see 5 actors in the whole thing, and mostly it's Bill Skarsgård the whole way through. It's good to watch just watch it one time. It reminds me, George, you talked about the what was the Marky Mark one where they're in a plane?
Yeah. I can't remember the name of it because I didn't care that much about it, but yeah.
Yeah, whatever that movie was, the airplane one. Just like, I would not have enjoyed seeing that in the theater, but it is a fun just afternoon watch for streaming. It's one of those kind of things. So I'm glad I actually missed it in the theater. So when you have a rainy afternoon, you could do worse than Locked. Just don't go into it thinking it's going to be what I was hoping it was like a genre changing thing. It's not that. It's just okay. And you get to see Anthony Hopkins again in the flesh. I thought he was going to be voice only. You actually get to see him. So,
okay.
Yeah, it's all right. And certainly more cheerful than Adolescence. Yes. Barely, just by a little bit. All right, George, round this out. What have you been watching lately?
Yeah, so I picked up on season 2 of Last of Us, which came out a couple of weeks ago, and I sat down with my wife and son to watch this because my son and I had gotten really into season 1. Sure. And immediately when the episode started, I realized it's been 2 fucking years since season 1. And I didn't remember anything hardly at all of the details of what happened in season 1, especially toward the end. And they didn't help you with any here's what happened last time kind of stuff.
No.
So we actually had to pause the episode, go to YouTube and find a recap for season 1. However, what was really irritating was it was a recap from the channel that airs Last of Us. I'm like, why not just put this at the front of the goddamn episode?
Right, episode 0, right at the front of it, right?
I mean,
it
was literally like 2-3 minutes. You could have put it in episode 1,
really?
and everybody would have been perfectly fine and happy with it. You wouldn't have made me go outside of the episode. It almost made me not watch the fucking episode at that point because I was kind of pissed. After I got over that, we decided to go ahead and watch episode 1. We liked it. It was fun. It was good. It brought you back into the world right away. And of course, you can see some things that are going to propagate throughout the entire season that they give you little snippets and hints at here and there. The girl has grown up. I will give you a slight spoiler, although it shouldn't be terribly a big spoiler. I think they kind of had to do it because of the games, even though I understand that season 2 is going to go off on a different path from the games themselves.
Yeah.
The girl and the guy, it's 5 years now from the end of season 1.
Oh.
So they're 5 years further into the future. That does help because you can see that she's aged. And I think it would have been weird if there wasn't some kind of time jump. I know it's only been 2 years, but I think it does help at least make that feel a little bit more realistic in my mind. The new characters, where they're living at in Wyoming with his brother and the townspeople and everything, they introduce them back again to the story. There is a really interesting character played by Catherine Moriarty, I think is her last name, the mother from Home Alone.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So she plays the wife of a man that Pedro Pascal's character had to kill in season 1 near the end of the series. And she's now his therapist.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, that's twisted.
Yeah. And she lays it all out in Front Street in the session that they have in the episode. The girl and Pedro Pascal, they are at odds right now because she's a 18, 19-year-old girl. She's rebelling against him, as teenage girls often do with their fathers. But there's also an element of his guilt because he doesn't necessarily tell her all the truth about the Fireflies, and they come back into the picture in this episode. So there's a lot going on. It's a very deep series. If you don't go watch that catch you up thing on YouTube, you kind of almost have to go back and watch at least the last few episodes of season 1.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're probably going to have a hard time catching up. It's a good story without that, but you kind of really need it.
That's kind of the nature of so much streaming television these days. And now I know this has been a little bit of an exaggerated break because we had the SAG-AFTRA strike and the writer's strike and everything between the last season of so many things and this season of them. But it's not uncommon. I mean, even starting with like Sopranos, like I feel like even those had longer gaps. And it used to be you'd watch 26 episodes and it'd be like the summer off, 8-12 weeks, and you're right back into it. So you remembered. We didn't forget that Captain Picard got assimilated. That was easy to remember. Right? It was just a couple months ago.
It was almost also easy because they said last time on Star Trek Next Generation.
Right. Right on top of that. Yeah, I get that maybe they want to make it seamless. Maybe they're thinking, well, that's only a problem for the people watching it in real time. The people that watch this binge it in 2 years, they're going to watch it all. But there's no harm in putting something there to skip. It'd be nice to have a refresher.
Yeah, if you're going to binge it all, you probably binged season 1 already because it's been 2 fucking years since season 1 was out. So I don't know how many people, I mean, there are probably a few who went back and binged season 1 before this started.
Yeah.
I'm not one of them because hell, I didn't even realize when it was coming out until like a few weeks before. There's series who do this well and series who don't do this well. They did not do this well. Battlestar Galactica, the reimagining, did it perfect. Every single episode.
Little recap.
Last time on Battlestar Galactica, every single episode had that, no matter what part of the season or what episode. Maybe that's overkill, but it took them literally 30 to 60 seconds to get a viewer invested in an episode.
Yeah. And yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying. They should have done last time on or last season on. But, I'll say one thing about Battlestar Galactica. That was pre-streaming and it was episodic, and people watched it week by week. So you kind of did that little bit of reminder, like what happened last week. But they did really said I think they did do an excellent job of catching you up every episode, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but there's only a week between those episodes in most cases. There's 2 years
I know, that's
between
crazy,
the two episodes in this. I mean,
and the hell of it is they produced the thing. They just didn't put it on the episode, like you said. The work was done.
Like if it had been somebody else's catch up, I'd have been like, oh, okay, they didn't make one. But this came from Max. They made it themselves. It's on their YouTube channel.
They knew it was a problem. They just
All
right. Well, I'm definitely going to watch it. And now I'm also going to go and watch the recap before I even try, because I don't want to get pissed off like you were at your TV. I know how to enjoy it. Thank you for taking the brunt of it for us so we can just be happy.
Llévate más de lo que esperas todos los días con el nuevo McValue en McDonald's. Ahora puedes comprar uno y sumarle otro por $1. Así que cuando tu equipo favorito enfrente a sus rivales, enfrenta tus antojos con $5 Meal Deals. Y si estás corriendo para alcanzar el desayuno, corre al app para llevarte ofertas antes del cutoff. Tú decides, y con McValue, tu decisión siempre rinde más. Precios y participación pueden variar. BOGO $1 válido para un producto de igual o menor valor. Debe estar registrado en Rewards para ofertas en el app.
Vitamin Water was born in New York because New Yorkers wanted more. Like more flavor to go with all the flavor. A refreshing drink after climbing 6 flights of stairs to a walk-up apartment, or standing in the subway station in 100-degree heat. Focus when I have an 8-hour shift. And XXX after I was out all night at a club. Call XXX. Drink vitamin water. It's from New York.
Be sure to subscribe to or follow Gen X Grown Up wherever you listen. And while you're there, rate and review the show too. It helps more than you know.
In Greece, gifts are exchanged on St. Basil's Day. In Venezuela, on the Feast of the Epiphany. In fact, the world has almost as many days for giving as there are gifts. Yet millions of people give the same thing, a pulsar. The fine watch whose extraordinary appeal makes Pulsar as perfect for Christmas as it is for Kakumisak. Pulsar, the world knows a great watch when it sees one.
So to kick off this week's Tech and Toys, George, are you still going down your Unraid journey?
Self-torture,
Saga.
whatever you want to call it. I'm definitely still involved in it. I've done some a whole bunch of different configurations, Dockers and everything, VMs I'm playing around with now. I kind of wanted to get back because I had forgotten I configured this one tool in my R compendium of applications. So there's Sonar, there's Radar, there's Prowlar, there's all these different R's out there that help us with our media gathering exploits. One though that I'd forgotten about, like I said, is called Bazarr, and it's the one that grabs all of the subtitles for you.
Oh,
right. Yeah.
It's a useful tool for somebody like me who when I watch a movie, and we've talked about this with Andor and other things, if there are foreign speaking parts, I want to see the subtitles to those so I can understand it. I don't want to, turn on English subtitles that, are like every subtitle thing throughout the entire. I just want to see just the foreign parts. That's what forced subtitles are. Whatever the primary language is, it only shows you the subtitles in the language when that primary language is not being used. Bazarr allows you to configure a policy, for lack of a better term, or a profile in their nomenclature that says, okay, for everything in your movies folder, for everything in your TVs folder, or whatever, subset of that you want to designate, go find this subtitle language profile. You can say English or French or German or whatever else you want, or you can say forced,
right?
Blah, 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 blah. Well, I did it and I configured it for everything.
Oh, well, is that bad?
So, it's in the process of downloading over 7,000 subtitles right now.
Oh, but they're text. That shouldn't be the worst thing.
They're small, but
they're not big. It takes a little while for it to find them, because it's got to, go out and grab them. It doesn't seem to use torrent though. When you set up what you might think of as indexers in Prowlar, you set up things like Yiffy subtitles and opensubtitles.org or .com now, because the .org is a pay one that you have to sign up and pay monthly for. Anyway, you sign up for all these different free ones or pay ones, and you add those in. So it goes out to those services, gets them directly. And because you tie this in with Sonar and Radar, it directly names them and puts them in the appropriate place in your movie or TV folder structure.
Okay.
So it makes things a lot easier if you're very interested in getting good subtitles for your movies that don't have them already burned in.
So I didn't know this particular R, my pirate S inflection there, existed. Of course, I know the Prowler and the LiDAR and the Sonar and the Radar and everything that we have used to acquire media and get it positioned where it needs to be. And on a different angle, I don't care about forced subtitles myself. I'm okay, because if they're not there, I'm usually assuming they want me to not understand. Maybe it's somebody speaking to somebody to confuse another character. So it doesn't bother me so much, but I understand why it does you. From another angle, though, my wife is addicted to subtitles. Like, she doesn't like to watch shows unless they're on. And part of it is she's just grown accustomed to it. Part of it is her hearing is not as good as it used to be. And so it's not like she can hear fine, but like not as crisp as you would like, maybe a little muffled. And so she finds it much more comfortable to just leave them on all the time. When we watch shows together, I turn them on for her as a courtesy. I have to fight to not read them. I'll stop watching and just read. But as you mentioned, this thing allows you to not just go and get forced, but you could just get English for everything. There are plenty of series that I can't find subtitles for. Because, inside of Plex, you can go search for subtitles, and it goes, I can't find any. Right. But having a tool like this, that I don't have to go hunt them down.
You don't. Yeah. And it will, not only will it take the subtitles in whatever language you prefer and put them wherever you need them to, it will apparently actually tell Plex, if you have Plex configured this way, to just automatically turn them on.
Oh, man.
So you can go as far with this as you want.
Okay.
You can configure this as much as you want. It doesn't have an API like hook into Plex, but apparently because of the way it and Sonar and Radar and Plex are all tied together, I was just watching the other day, and I was watching The Martian, because The Martian is 98% English only, but there is like 2 scenes where these Chinese astronaut expert head leader people are talking, where they're like, why didn't they come and ask us? Well, our rocket is, they don't know that it exists, and blah, blah, blah. You miss probably a 2-minute or 3-minute conversation that does inform the story if you don't have forced subtitles in that movie. So this totally solved that for me. No problems. And as long as you're willing to, download 7,000 subtitles, I guess you're good.
I was really hoping you were going to say the scene where the Martians are talking, but you didn't. You said the Chinese.
No.
Oh, well.
Not in that movie.
Oh, well.
To me, it's a good piece of tech.
I'm in.
John, I think yours is absolutely a piece of tech, but some people might consider it a toy, depending upon how they're using it, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose so. And honestly, I'm very late to the game here, and I'll acknowledge that. So we all have 3D printers. However, you and Mo, you have been in the designing, like you make things from scratch. And so you needed, at some point long ago already, a set of calipers, because you have to measure. It's not enough to go, it's about 5 millimeters. No, that won't do. Like you need to know exactly the 10th or 100th or whatever. And I still haven't really dove into that part of 3D printing. However, in collaborating with my friend Paul, who does all the 3D design and makes all of the add-ons for all the gaming gadgets, he and I were working together, and he's like, I want to make a thing for this thing I don't have. Can you measure it for me? And I'm like, I don't know how. So I figured at this point I ought to have a set of calipers. And so I'm thinking, I don't want to spend a bunch of money. I don't know how expensive they are. So this was my discovery of what the hell these things, how well they work and what they do. Went on Amazon, of course, browsed around, and I found a pair of digital measuring calipers, by which I mean it has a readout on it. Really nice stainless steel batteries, extra pieces to it and everything. It was like $12.
Yeah, they're not like a really good one's like 20 something. Like,
and here's the part where I'm excited about things that you guys are going to go, yeah, And I'm like, oh, I guess they're all kind of designed like you can measure the inside of something or the outside of something based on how you put the little teeth in there and do stuff. Yep. And then there was this freaking plunge tool where you set it on the end and push it down, and this little needle comes out the bottom. And I'm like, what is this magic? And then this thing that's $12 that probably couldn't have cost him $4 to build to sell it for that price. The precision that it has, I can't believe you can get thousandths of a millimeter on this. Where has technology come from in the measuring space? How does it, like, I can't imagine the precision required. Is it just using like electrical signal? Like, does it get weaker and stronger with magnets, or is it literally a dial that's that precise? I don't know. If you know, you're welcome to tell me, but I was stunned by, I figured, well, I'll get one and it'll be a piece of crap, but at least we'll get close, right? No, I did it. And then when I met up with Paul at the Midwest Gaming Classic a few weeks ago, he showed up with his fancy engineer's $100 calipers. He's like, oh, yep, measurements are all right. It was the same measurements with his expensive ones. And I really couldn't believe that that's what you could get for such a cheap price, and it works just as well as the expensive ones. I guess the technology's just improved.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak for the ones that Mo has, but the ones I got, I picked up for $3 because they were on one of those coupon sites where you can put in a code that works with Amazon.
Right.
And I think they were normally like $15, but I got them for like $3 or something like that. And I've had them ever since. And they do every single thing that you're talking about, and they do it well. And I haven't had any problems with any of the measurements they've provided me. Now, I notice that if you are, say, like you're trying to get the outer dimensions of something and you squeeze those pinchers really tightly around it, you can make that thousandth of a millimeter thing really change its number if you squeeze hard enough.
I guess, yeah.
But they're solid enough that if you're off by a thousandth of a millimeter, you need the $100 ones.
Then don't buy the $12 calipers, frankly, right?
Yeah. I mean, seriously, because I bought mine, maybe it was like $18, $19, whatever.
Really?
And it's a little bit long. It's like 8, usually they're 6-inch. Mine was like 8-inch ones, But for that much, for $18, though, it came with 2 extra batteries. I mean, it was they're like not expensive at all. Yeah. And he said, and they just, it kind of amazes me too that, like, I remember my dad back in the day, he had calipers, but they were like, the one had the little style on it, and he had to calibrate it, and it was all analog. And the ones he bought back then were probably close to $100. Because he needed solid calipers, but for analog, it had to be that expensive in order to work well. So, technology.
Right. And I had to be educated on, like you said, George, don't squeeze too hard because you can influence it, because you don't notice it's compressing, but it's probably squishing something too. You don't know. And although it has the auto off, mine had extra batteries, some accessories. I don't know what all it had, but I was just stunned. I'm late to the party, admittedly, on this one. But it's okay, George. You're late to the party on Unraid. So this is my thing that I'm the third of us to get. I don't know how often I'll use it, but the one I got, I'll give you a link you can put in there. If you're even vaguely interested, these cheap ones will do pretty much what you need. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Switch to Verizon Business and get more from your internet without paying more for your internet. Get LTE Business Internet starting at $39 a month when paired with select business mobile plans. That's unlimited data, and with it, unlimited possibilities. Start saving today with Verizon Business, ranked #1 in small business internet customer satisfaction by J.D. Power. Starting price for 25 megabits per second LTE internet plan with smartphone plan savings, plus taxes, fees, and economic adjustment charge. Terms apply. For J.D. Power 2024 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
Hey, it's Bill Simmons from the Bill Simmons Podcast. The NBA playoffs are here, and Michelob Ultra is getting you closer to the game than ever with courtside seats and more. Enter now at MichelobUltra.com/courtside. Michelob Ultra Superior Access Courtside 2024 to 2025 sweepstakes. No purchase necessary. Open to U.S. residents 21 or older. Ends on July 1st, 2025. Multiple entry periods. Visit MichelobUltra.com/superior access/courtside for free entry deadlines and official rules. Message and data rates may apply. Void where prohibited.
Each episode of Gen X Grown Up has show notes loaded with links where you can learn more about our topics. And there's even more to see and hear over at GenXGrownUp.com.
Boy, am I drained. I'm almost ready to burn out in this soft white light bulb. But if I were in the Sylvania soft white bulb, I'd last 5% longer. Why, in their 60 watt alone, I'd have 50 more shining hours. So get Sylvania's soft white light bulbs and get the most out of me.
Ask for Sylvania, where the best comes to light. This is the main event of the podcast for the 3 in attendance locally and the millions listening around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time!
All right, it's time to talk about games. All three of us have something on the list. So, Mo, let's start with you. What have you been playing since the last time we talked?
Yeah, so I'm playing a game, Oblivion Remastered. Oblivion's a game that it was the Elder Scrolls series. It's the fourth of the series called Oblivion. I was all 100% in on this game when it came out. I played it God knows how many thousands of hours. So what they did was that Bethesda, the company that made it, they went and they just basically redid all the graphics to update to modern graphics, and they tweaked the gameplay a little bit to make it a little bit better. But that's about it. I saw it. It's going for like $40. I mean, it's going for like a premium price.
It's like new price. Well,
yeah,
almost
pretty much. Although new games now are like 70, ridiculous.
Guess,
but still, but $40 is still a lot. I got it because I love this game so much.
Yeah.
And I started playing with it, and next thing I know, 2 hours had passed. I mean, it just shows me like how, and I've just been playing the latest Assassin's Creed on top of it, right? So I'm doing definitely a direct comparison between the two. And I could tell you, it's like the things that made Oblivion a great game are the same things that Assassin's Creed is doing now. They did it first, like, okay, so maybe it didn't have like 20 people walking around in this town. You have like 4 or something like that, or they did things like that. But the story elements, the gameplay, it's sucking you into the characters, it's all there.
I know people that still play Oblivion, the original one.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, almost 20 years on. You had mentioned, and I wonder if you can put you on the spot here, you mentioned they had changed the gameplay somewhat, and you play the old one and the new one. I wonder if you had like an example or two of what they did. I'm guessing it's like quality of life things or modern mechanics. What kind of things did they change outside of just a reskin?
The stuff, I mean, it was really small, actually. They said it was things like the gameplay as far as like the controllers. You usually fully use your controller now for this one. Whereas when I played back in the day, I had used the keyboard, although it did come out for the Xbox way back when. Besides that, I'm not really sure. I can't really tell you. I haven't really seen anything that's that different. The bad guys are not as smart as modern games. The modern game ones, they're hunting for you. They'll hunt
Older
around and
AI,
stuff.
yeah.
This one, they pretty much just charge at you, I mean, things like that, which is fine. To show you though, it sold, I forget how, it is like one of the top sellers right now on Steam, which is kind of crazy. You think about it, and everyone's wondering, it's like, if you come up with a really good game and really the only thing that really needs to change is the graphics. Why not make a couple extra bucks on it? So yeah, I definitely see me going back to this thing and playing it all the way through again. Cause like I said, it still, the storyline still pulls you right into it like it did back in the day. It's just the graphics are better.
And you know what'll spoil you? You can never go back to the first one now.
I know.
Because you remember it as pretty as you're playing the new one, but if you go back and watch the old one, it's going to look like shit. You're like, I can't, crap. How did I ever play this?
I don't know how I got to it. But yeah, definitely, if you're a fan of the original game, definitely worth the time and the money, in my opinion. Right. So how about you, John? What are you playing?
I have been playing casually, which is the best kind of game to recommend to old people because it's not hours and hours to invest. A game that my daughter gifted to me. I think it's like $4 if you want to buy it. It's called Buckshot Roulette. Now, it's literally you play through the whole game in 15 minutes, but it's designed to play again and again and again. So it's a really interesting kind of hard to explain art style. It's a little bit ancient. Oh, you know what it looks like? It looks a little bit like if you rezzed up Another World. You know how it was kind of cell shaded a little bit and kind of grainy, pixely textures. It's not like super pixely like that, but like kind of doubled up from that. Not super smooth, but it's designed to look gritty and grainy, like it's maybe shot through an old camera or something. The premise is super simple. You wake up like you've been captured and brought into this roulette game where you and this evil guy across the table from you are presented with a shotgun, some tools that you can use, and you gotta pick up the shotgun and either shoot at your opponent or shoot at yourself. It's up to you.
Oh, okay. Roulette. Got it.
It's roulette, right? With a shotgun. Every level. Yeah.
Seems like you always lose in that one, but go ahead.
Every level, they open up this little chest. It's really dramatic. They open up this little thing and show you the shells they're going to put in, either red shells that are live or gray shells that are null, or they're bad. So you load up a certain number of shells. You have to remember, too. Nobody's keeping track for you. I'm like, okay, there's 2 good ones and 3 bad ones. And in the beginning, you're just kind of like taking your best guess, and you're like, well, I'll shoot at you or me and try. But once you get to the second round, they start giving you presents that you can use, these tools, like a magnifying glass that you can spend to see what the shell is next in the chamber. So like if it's a dud, there's a special rule. If you shoot yourself and don't die, you get a free second turn.
Okay.
Right. So you know what the next one is, but you know what the next one is. There might be a cigarette you could smoke, and I think it gives you back a health point. There might be there's handcuffs that you can bolt onto your opponent to make him lose a turn. There's all these modifiers that you can add on. But it is roulette. It's Russian roulette, but it's a smart person's Russian roulette that you're playing against this evil bad guy across the table. And toward the end, you get more hit points and more twists are thrown in there for $4. It's just it's just such an easy thing to play. And yeah, it has online multiplayer. You can hook up with a friend. You can host it. George, you could join me, or Mo, you could join me. And we could be the ones sitting across the table from one another. And it's a mind game, just like Russian roulette is anyway, right? It's this mind game like, okay, well, you looked in the chamber, but you didn't choose to shoot yourself. So you know it was, so what's the other one must be? What are the odds now? There are all these sorts of things. And the thing I like most, not the thing I like most about, I like the game a lot. One of the things I like so much about it is that it's so quick to play. When you finish, you lost. If you win, they open up this big chest of money, like you won a whole bunch of money for what you did. Or if you lose, you're dead and you got to try again. And it's one of those you could pick up and play just because I have 10 or 15 minutes to play a game and I feel like trying it out without having to make a huge commitment. And it has replayability.
What platform is this on?
I'm playing it on Steam. I don't know where all it is. It's $4 on Steam right now. I honestly didn't look. It's by a company called Critical Reflex, and they have they tend to do this art style of game and a number of different ones like it. But this is the one, I don't know where my daughter found it, but when she found it, she's like, you've got to play this. I'm sending it to you. So I downloaded it. It took a few weeks before I got around to it, but she was right. It is fun. So if you're looking for something small to play that's easy to get into and out of, or play with a friend too, Buckshot Roulette, you could do worse. All right, George, how about you? What have you been playing?
Yeah, so I've been playing a 13-year-old game in much the same fashion of what you're talking about. It's quick to get into.
Nice.
It's easy to get out of. It's called, I'm going to mispronounce this, I'm sure, but Botanicula, I think is how you pronounce it. So like botanical.
Yeah, that's what I'd say. Sounds right.
It's from a company called Manita Design. Again, I'm going to mispronounce that. They have created several of these types of games, but this is one of their ones from 2012 when it was first released. Okay. It's still $15 right now on Steam for the base game, or they have a collector's edition, which gives you artwork and soundtrack for $18. And normally I don't even mention that because who the hell cares about artwork and soundtrack from a video game? But this time, it's one of those games that you might actually want it. This game, it's a single player point and click, fun, lazy exploration game where you are a group of 5 character creatures that live on a tree in this real world, or this weird world, I guess is a better way to say it. And you're trying to explore and find out why there's this little black fuzzball that's draining the life out of your tree.
Oh.
And you're going around, and because it's point and click, you don't know what things you're supposed to point and click on. There's no verbal language. There is no tutorial stage really to speak of. It's just when something is clickable, your little pointer changes to a hand icon, and you can move to different parts of the branches, and the branches all go in different directions and stuff. So you're basically wandering all over this tree. And at first you don't even have a map. You get that kind of later, like in the second half of stage 1. I've gotten to stage 2. I've played this game for a little over an hour so far. And I find that because their save system is super quick, you literally go down to the bottom of the screen, a menu pops up, you hit save, you click on a space, and you're back in the game immediately. When you want to quit, you just hit close and close game, and boom, the game shuts off. I love that because I'm so freaking tired of games not wanting to close themselves out or making you go through 20 different steps and stuff.
Are you sure?
Simple little things like that are very important to me when I play games now. This is what makes me keep coming back to this game. I got this for free through the Amazon Prime Epic free games stuff. That's how I ended up finding this game. It was just on that just like a week or two ago. I said, okay, I'm going to pick a game from my free stuff and play it. Boy, I'm glad I did, because now
Nice.
I'm going to go back and look at this company's other games and probably buy and play some of them just because of how much I've enjoyed this game so far. And I'm only in stage 2. I don't know how big the game is because I haven't looked anything up, but it feels like it could be super tiny or really fucking big.
Now, I haven't gone to look at any screenshots yet, so I'm going to ask you what could be a difficult question, but it's the one I'm most curious about. All the mechanics around it sounds really interesting to me. Is there any kind of way you can describe the art style? Because that's really important to me in games like this.
Yeah, I would say it's like a watercolored version of Limbo.
Ooh. Oh, now that's intriguing. Huh. I'm not sure what that looks like, but the description is intriguing.
But with also some panels that maybe are glowing through parts of the screen. So like some of the branches have these white glowing lights, and the fuzzball evil character, he literally looks like a character I used to draw a comic book of when I was like 6 years old called The Fuzzies. And it's just this black fuzzball that has these spindly little thin legs popping out of it that he can maneuver around. And you're going around all these creatures, and some of the creatures look like little acorns, but they're misshapen. And some of them look like little twigs, but they're misshapen. And some of them look like little worms with feathers coming out of them, but they're misshapen. Everything is slightly off from our world, but it's so charming. There's this one little scene where you come to a part of the branch where there are these little creatures who kind of resemble seahorses with snouts on the front of them.
Okay.
And when you click and hold your mouse on one of the creatures, his snout gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then he starts making a sound, like a musical sound, like a humming sound. And then 2 or 3 of his friends come by. And when you eventually you get all of them to sing at one time, and then a giant one comes in.
Wow.
And when the giant one comes in and you make him sing, you get pulled into his snout and you're inside his belly where there's another little creature like him that has the key that you've been looking for.
Huh. This is the thing. This hold true, I'm guessing. You said no instructions, no tutorial. Is that just something you had to discover by screwing around?
Yes.
That's kind of cool. And I'm looking at screenshots now. It looks really pretty. Subdued, understated, but pretty. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
And some of the things you discover are just for discovery. They're not anything that help you in the game. And some of the things do help you in the game. So you really need to point and click at everything that you can. And it mesmerizes me a little bit. The music that's in some of the scenes, there was this one scene that I was playing just a little bit before we started recording this podcast. And I literally caught myself kind of dancing in my chair a little bit because the music was just so happy.
Is there any video footage of that, perhaps?
No, there's no video footage of that. I can
Okay.
barely get my camera to work for this podcast. It's a very fun game. Even at the $15 full price that it's listed at right now, I think it's worth it. I don't know if I'm going to get 15-hour Corey's worth out of it, but I don't really care because it's already given me $15 worth of happiness.
Wow. Nice. And for free for now. So that's cool. I'm going to have to check it out. Nice. Thanks.
It's almost Mother's Day, and you can now get anything you need delivered with Uber Eats. Well, almost anything. So no, you can't order a relaxing shower, but some beautiful flowers, you bet we deliver those. A bird bath? No. A bath bomb? Absolutely. It's no to a chocolate lab, but yes to some chocolate truffles. So whether it's a last-minute gift for Mother's Day, fresh groceries, or food from your favorite restaurants, get it delivered today with Uber Eats. Order now. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
At the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event, get deals so right, it almost feels wrong. Now's the best time to get that Hyundai you've always wanted. Plus, every new Hyundai comes with America's best warranty and 3 years or 36,000 miles of limited complimentary maintenance. Don't think you can get away with all that? Think again. The Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Visit your local Hyundai dealer today. It's a great day for a new Hyundai.
If you're a die-hard Gen X grown-up, you can pledge your support by clicking join on YouTube or by becoming a patron at genxgrownup.com/Patreon.
Things sweetened with 100% NutraSweet display the 100% NutraSweet symbol.
Sure you know what you're looking for?
A little red swirl next to the words NutraSweet brand sweetener.
Sold on TV.
Not hard to spot at all.
You're gonna freeze your face.
The 100% symbol means great taste without any sugar added. and no saccharin.
Found it.
100% NutraSweet.
About time.
Why some things taste better than others.
As we are rounding out here the show, getting to the last segment, we always like to stop here and take just a moment to talk about the things we're either looking at or looking forward to between now and the next time we get together to do the show. And Mo, why don't we start with you? I'd like to know what you have on the horizon.
Sure. There's yet another Star Wars show coming on Disney Plus called Tales from the Underworld. It takes a couple of the villains from the animated series, and it's limited. It's only like 4 or 5 episodes, and just kind of continuing their story and see where they went. So I'm always looking forward to something coming on, with Star Wars, but it's coming on Disney Plus on May 4th.
Oh, that's the Star Wars Day, right?
Yes, it is.
Oh, yeah.
May the 4th.
Right.
There's a show on Netflix called The Internaut, which is coming on April 30th.
Oh.
I don't know much about it, but I want to see it because it's like an alien invasion, and there's like millions of people have died, and people trying to survive. So I'm already on board. That's coming out the 30th on Netflix. But what I'm really looking forward to, and I hope it doesn't let me down, is the Thunderbolts coming out May 2nd.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that was a kind of a meh from George. All right, good.
Well, no, just because I wanted to go see it at CMX Studios because I have a free birthday pass and a free anniversary pass, but they have some kind of deal with Disney. You can't use any vouchers on Disney movies in the first 2 weeks.
Okay.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
I love a story about like the B characters, and they make them interesting to me. And like I said, to me, sometimes they're more interesting than the main characters because they have a lot more flaws. So, definitely looking forward to it. I heard a lot of good things about it. And again, I'm just hoping it doesn't disappoint us, but we'll see.
Yeah.
How about you, John?
Yeah, I have a few things I'm looking forward to. The first is a single episode of a series we watch. Now, you guys turned me on to Ghosts, the US version of the UK series about the people that live in this manor and the girl can see the ghosts. And I am addicted to this show. It's one of those that when it drops, I've got to watch it right away because it's so much fun. I'm most intrigued, though. There's an episode coming right at the end of this season on May 1st on CBS. The episode is called Kyle. And as a guest star on there, Ben Feldman, who was on Superstore and Silicon Valley.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he is there, and he's another guy who can see the ghosts.
Oh.
Yeah.
And we've met lots of other ghosts, and ghosts have found new powers, and they found surprisingly interesting ways to expand on what should be a canned show.
Right.
But now they're bringing in someone, establishing that Sam is not the only person in the world who can see these ghosts, and we're going to meet one. And so apparently that's going to strain their marriage because now she has someone who can talk to the ghost with her, and so the husband is more left out. Anyway, that show is just so clever, and it's funny, and it's heartfelt often, which is weird for what you think would be a goofy show. I love it. And that's this episode in particular. I've read articles about it, and I'm fascinated by what it's going to do to the show, kind of blow it open and do more things. But that's coming May 1st. As I said, there's a film coming out in the theaters called Clown in a Cornfield.
Oh, jeez.
It's what it sounds like.
Children
it's a
of the Corn.
goofy Pennywise-like clown was the mascot of this town, and now he's forgotten, but now somebody's dressed up as him, maybe, or maybe it's him or Supernatural. I don't know. It's just a silly clown, and he's often in a cornfield, people hanging up like scarecrows, as you might imagine, stupid shit like that. I want to see it May 9th in theaters. And I'm going to keep this on the list until we get there because it's coming up faster than you think. Mostly looking forward to the 2025 Southern Fried Gaming Expo up in Atlanta. We're all going to be there June 20th through the 22nd. Wrestling and free play games and board games and RPGs and mini painting and panels and so much stuff to do. If you're interested in going, whether it's to see us or not, you can head over to gameatl.com and you can use the promo code GenXGrownUp, all one word, no spaces, for $5 off your admission to the show. So if you're thinking of going, save a little money on us. SFGE. Love it. George, how about you? What you got coming up?
Yeah. One that kind of shocked me. I didn't expect it to get a season 2, and that's Walking Dead Dead City.
Yeah.
This is the one that centers on Negan and I can never remember the lady's name, but the one who
Maggie.
had the son and
Maggie.
Negan killed. Yeah, Maggie. Anyway, it's their story. They went to New York to save the boy that Negan orphaned and so on and so forth. I don't know why it needs a season 2, but it's getting one. It's May the 4th on AMC, so I'll check it out. Another one, John, in your Skarsgård library, Murderbot Season 1.
Oh, right.
May the 16th, Apple Plus, as Alexander as the eponymous robot who decides that he becomes self-aware and he decides to give himself the moniker of Murderbot.
Yeah.
That's as much as I know, and that's as much as I need to know to want to watch this series.
Yeah.
But then probably something that I've looked forward to more than I thought I should and still do, and God, please don't let this be the last season. Love, Death, and Robots Season 4 finally coming out on Netflix May the 15th. I think it's been at least 2 years, maybe more, since we got Season 3.
They're always great.
Every now and then I go back and watch some of my favorite episodes from that series because all the episodes are self-contained. They don't bleed into one another. It's one of the things that makes it so great, even though they have these 3 little robots that are kind of the thing that tie the whole storylines together. Yeah. It's just a great series. It gives a lot of artists an opportunity to showcase not only their storytelling abilities, but their graphic abilities and just bend the normal spectrum of what animation normally is and put it into different ways, like super hyper realistic stuff all the way down to almost like block characters. It's just a brilliant series. It deserves a place in society, and I hope they keep making more of these seasons as we go forward.
Yeah. I love it too. I didn't know this another season was coming. Oddly, the internet works. Right about the time I read that you had it on our list here, I saw a trailer pop up, and I'm like, are they reading my screen? How do they know I just saw about that? So, but I learned it first from you. Okay, before we wind up the show, I want to thank another of our longtime patrons. But before we do, I know, Mo, one of the benefits of being a supporter over on Patreon is a chance to ask a question right here on the show and have all 3 of us answer it. Do you have a new question from a patron this time?
Yeah, I do. This is from Joe, who's actually submitted some questions before.
Okay.
He starts off with, love your podcast. Always a great
Love
way
you,
to
Joe.
start.
Thank you.
And he said, I was wondering, what podcast do you listen to regularly?
Oh,
I thought it was a pretty straightforward one. My friend, I'll start off with this one.
Okay.
So there's a couple I listen to regularly. One is Radio Lab. That's from National Public Radio. It's just interesting stories. That's pretty much all it's about. It's just interesting stories. Every episode to me is interesting. Just love listening to it. They're always original. And the other one is called Ologies. And this has been out for a while. It's actually somebody who just brings a scientist on and they talk about one thing. And it could be locomotives. It could be grasshoppers. It could be this. But the person who's asking questions, she's so excited to be asking these questions, and the people answering are so excited to be answering. It's very infectious. It's just a great show, and you wind up learning a lot. So how about you, John? What do you listen to?
Yeah, I have a lot of stuff I listen to, and I just want to run through them real quick because it sounds like Joe's looking for recommendations from someone who makes a show, what kind of stuff, and real quickly, and for different reasons. Of course, I listen to 1980s Now, which is currently on a little hiatus. It's about to kick up again. I co-host that one along with Will and Kat, of course. I love listening to that, even though I'm on it. It's a great fun. But a regular show that I listen to a lot is Stuff You Should Know. It's much like your Ology. It's a different topic every episode, and they talk about, could be anything. It could be Cabbage Patch Kids, or it could be blood transfusions, or you never know. They just dig into something. There's a great one called Criminal, hosted by Phoebe Judge, where they interview a criminal and talk about what they did to break the law and how it happened, and a bank robber or whatever. And then one, George, if you're not listening to it, it's awesome, called Office Ladies. Jenna Fisher and Angela Kinsey host that. And they go back episode by episode and talk about all the behind the scenes of the Office.
That's cool. That's always fun.
Yeah, it's great fun. It's great fun. Into the Vertical Blank is a great one I listen to regularly. The Legend of Sword Quest was a limited one lately, but those are the ones I'll go back and listen to regularly, or the limited, like Legend of Sword Quest, I've re-listened to because it's very intriguing. But that's my list. I'm really curious what George has, because he notoriously doesn't listen to podcasts. I wonder what he has, if anything, on the list.
Yeah, so you're right. I haven't listened to a podcast in 2 years,
including ours.
Yeah. I just don't have the ability or the desire to listen to them when I'm sitting here in my room, and I don't really drive anywhere. I work remotely. I take care of my wife, so I don't really go places to listen to them when I'm in the car. But when I did listen to them and I was driving regularly, some of my recommendations first would have been Escape Room. It's a great podcast by a great group of people. I know these two guys have probably never heard of it, but check it out. It's a lot of fun. There's 4 episodes out, and I heard that somebody's trying to write more episodes on it. But anyway,
rumor.
Tannis, Black Tapes, Rabbits, and The Last Movie. They're all kind of in that same universe.
Mm-hmm.
Those are great series to listen to. They're all over at this point, but they were really infectious. I like fictional podcasts. I don't really care about reality-based podcasts or the criminal ones or any of that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Impact Winter, that's another really good one that I listened to. Blackout, Remy Malik was on that one.
I listened to
Good
some of
series.
that.
Limetown and Homecoming, of course. Heads of Sierra Blanca.
Yeah.
That was a really good fictional
Listen to that
podcast
too.
that I liked. Passenger List, another good one, kind of in the vein of Lost a little bit. What else? White Vault was solid. I've heard of that 80s Now podcast, but I've never listened to it.
We know. Yeah.
No. But those are all ones that I like. And then fictional, which takes, it takes like old stories and kind of modernizes them and does a retelling a little bit in a modern field or it's a solid series. If you're looking for recommendations in the fictional realms, though, those would be my recommendations.
Nice. Okay. Good question, Joe. Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks for that question, Joe. It was fantastic. Again, we always love hearing from our amazing patrons out there. And if you want to get your question asked on the show, it's super easy. Just go to GenXGrownUp.com/Patreon. As little as $1 a month, submit your question and we'll try to answer it right here on the show.
And before we go, I want to, often I will thank new patrons who come online. This episode, I just want to take a moment to thank a legacy patron, someone who supported us for years and years and years. I just want to throw a thanks out there to Anthony Great. He has been a supporter at one of the top tiers at our stakeholder level. He really believes in what we do. He's very supportive of us. His generosity is unparalleled in terms of how much he has invested his time and energy and his wallet in making sure that we continue to do what we do. Anthony, you are in an elite crew of people that we could not have continued to do this without. We're so grateful that you did. If you would like to join Anthony, it doesn't have to be at that top level. For as little as $1 a month, that's all it takes. Head over to patreon.com/GenXGrownUp. Open up your wallet and your heart, fill out a couple of forms, and you're on the road, and you could drop Mo a line and get your question answered here too, among the many perks. Okay, that is going to wrap it up for this edition of the show. Don't worry, though. We'll be back in 2 weeks with another one. But next week, well, that's our backtrack, where we pick a single nostalgic topic and dig in deep. Let's see, Mo, would you like to do the honors and tell the fourth listener what's coming their way next week?
Sure. What? Me worry? No, if you know what that's from, we're going to be diving deep into the warped and wonderful world of Mad Magazine. It's going to be fun. It's talk about parodies. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, it changed the face of parody in a lot of ways.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I can't wait to talk about that. Fourth listener, we hope you will join us for that one. Until then, I am John. George, thank you so much for being here, pal.
Yes, sir.
Mo, I appreciate you.
Always fun, man.
Fourth listener, it's you we all appreciate most of all, though. We can't wait to talk to you again next time. Bye-bye.
See you guys.
Take care, everybody.
No life, no fun. Don't you know that you're a grown-up?
Gen X Grown Up is a member of the Evergreen Podcast family. Learn more at evergreenpodcasts.com.
Watching shows till sunrise. Unacceptable for grown-ups. Your dinner cannot just be french fries. Basically, life sucks as a grown-up.
Oh, this just popped up. So what the heck is that Predator Badland? Is that a new series coming or a movie? You guys seen that yet? Everybody's talking about it. No? Okay. People are talking about the Predator design. He looks really weird, so never mind. Not important right now. Okay. Media in 5, 4, 3,